Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez has announced that Spain will raise its defense budget to 2% of GDP. He emphasized Madrid supports European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen's initiative to strengthen the EU's military capabilities. According to Sanchez, Europe needs a unified European army.
We are going to fulfill our commitments to the European Union because no one can take better care of Europe than Europe itself. We will increase our investment in security and defense just as we are doing in other parts of the world, such as the Middle East, Gaza in particular. We will continue to uphold international law by supporting Ukraine in its war against Putin's imperialism, because there is no greater guarantee of security for Ukraine and Europe than a well-equipped Ukrainian army.
Beyond national defense budget increases, EU countries are creating defense funds. Poland was the first to announce such an initiative. The Polish government has confirmed that nearly $8 billion from the state budget will be allocated to the fund. These resources will be used to modernize the defense industry, expand strategic infrastructure, and develop military technologies.
We will invest billions in shelters, dual-use infrastructure, and the development of Polish arms companies. We will advance our industry and research into new technologies. We are starting talks with the EC. At the same time, within 2 months, in cooperation with the Ministry of National Defense and other ministries, we will develop an investment plan for this fund. Katarzyna Pejczyńska-Nalęcz, Minister of Development Funds and Regional Policy of Poland, on Social Network X.
Poland will allocate 4.7% of its GDP to defense in 2025, the highest percentage among NATO members. During a joint press conference with the Polish Prime Minister, NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte emphasized Poland's key role in the alliance's collective defense.
It comes to the defense of Poland and the general defense of NATO territory. If anyone were to miscalculate and think they can get away with an attack on Poland or on any other ally, they will be met with the full force of this fierce alliance. Our reaction will be devastating. This has to be very clear to Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin and anyone else who wants to attack us.
While the EU remains a peace-oriented bloc, lasting peace is impossible without strong defense, according to European Commission President Antonio Costa. He stressed that the EU must acquire all necessary means to defend itself against Russian aggression.
Europe's security starts in Ukraine. That is why we need to continue to stand shoulder to shoulder with Ukrainians, to create the conditions for a just, comprehensive and lasting peace in Ukraine and in Europe. If Russia considers that Ukraine's borders are just a line on a map, why should it respect any other country's borders? By supporting Ukraine, we are supporting the United Nations Charter, the international rules-based order, in Europe and beyond.
At a press conference in Kyiv, Norwegian Foreign Minister Espen Barth Eide confirmed that Ukraine remains the top priority on Europe's security agenda.
I am convinced that Ukraine will win this war and we remain committed partners. We are not naive. We are Russia's neighbors and know very well how they negotiate. We must be realistic and not expect too much. We support Ukraine and its red lines. There can be no compromise on Ukraine's sovereignty or the size of its armed forces. Together we must set clear conditions for a ceasefire and, in the future, a peace agreement that will be lasting. Espen Barth Eide, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Norway.
On March 27, Paris hosted the Coalition of the Willing Summit, focusing on Ukraine's urgent needs and the future of global security architecture. Ukrainian Foreign Minister Andriy Sybiha stated that this meeting is part of ongoing efforts to secure long-term security guarantees for Kyiv. Reported by Katerina Bastun, Mikita Skoblikov, UATV News. Lithuania plans to fortify its borders with Russia and Belarus, the country's Ministry of Defense has announced. The plan includes multiple layers of fortifications, as well as the deployment of anti-personnel and anti-tank mines.
During bilateral meetings with the defense ministers of Poland and Finland, discussions were held on integrating the Eastern Shield and the Baltic Defense Line, as well as Finland's participation in developing a unified plan for border security. Regional partners aim to secure European Union funding for this initiative, from a statement on the website of the Ministry of Defense of Lithuania.
As part of the Eastern Shield project, Poland has tightened control over 700 kilometers of its border. According to Polish Defense Minister Władysław Kosiniak-Kamysz, the Eastern Shield is NATO's largest initiative to strengthen its eastern flank. It's also a key element in countering hybrid threats from Russia and Belarus, particularly in the inflow of illegal migrants. In this video, published by Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk, a group of people can be seen moving along the barrier at the Polish-Belarusian border, attempting to illegally enter Poland.
We have seen an increase in migration pressure in the last 12 days, but we are prepared for it. A month and a half ago, there were a few people trying to cross the border illegally, and now there are days when there are dozens of such people. There is a buffer zone, the physical barrier is hermetically sealed. 2 rings have been built to prevent the bars from being loosened by levers, and the installation of an electronic barrier is being finalized. Tomasz Siemoniak, Minister of the Interior of Poland, during a press briefing, adds the same. We have yet another confirmation that the Eastern Shield border defense and protection against illegal crossings are the responsibility of all of Europe. It is also a NATO issue, but first and foremost, it is Europe's duty.
Tusk also stated that Poland has verified evidence that migrant crossings are being orchestrated with the support of the Lukashenko regime. We are dealing not just with smuggling, but with a state-organized operation, the Polish Prime Minister said. This is why the Eastern Shield is intended to protect Poland from potential Russian aggression as well.
The situation at the border is serious. I am referring to both the Polish-Belarusian and Polish-Russian borders. We have concerns bordering on certainty that Belarus is following Russia's lead. Whatever Putin says, Lukashenko will agree. Remember where the initial invasion of Ukraine was launched from? From Belarus. We currently do not have anti-personnel mines, but we have the capability to produce them.
The use of anti-personnel mines is banned under the Ottawa Convention, which includes all EU member states. However, China, Russia, the United States, India and Pakistan have never signed the convention. Citing Russia's hybrid attacks on EU nations, Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia and Poland have announced their intention to withdraw from the anti-personnel mine ban.
With this decision, we are sending a clear message. Our countries are prepared and can use every necessary measure to defend our territory and freedom. Despite our withdrawal, we will remain committed to international humanitarian law, including the protection of civilians during an armed conflict. Our nations will continue to uphold these principles while addressing our security needs. From the joint statement of the Ministers of Defense of Estonia, Lithuania, Latvia and Poland.
Estonian Foreign Minister Margus Tsahkna has stated that his ministry is already drafting a bill to withdraw from the Ottawa Convention, which will be reviewed by the parliament. According to Estonia's top diplomat for the 4 Baltic and Eastern European countries, it is unfair to renounce weapons that Russia is prepared to use against them. Additionally, at the beginning of March, Lithuania completed its withdrawal from the Convention on Cluster Munitions, which bans the production, use and transfer of cluster weapons. Reported by Katerina Bastun, Valeria Nekipelova, UATV News.